Controlled Chaos here. I have an interview with Dave Georgeson, and this interview is just about Dave Georgeson himself and his career. How are you doing today, Dave?
Very good. Nice and relaxed.
That's good. So, I want to know a few things. One of the things that's been really hitting my mind is in the last time I spoke with you, you mentioned that you really enjoyed playing No Man's Sky and you liked the Corvette update. What do you think of the Remnant update?
Well, I was really excited about it when I started playing it. I started, you basically spend the entire expedition on the same planet.
Yeah, you do.
Which was a really weird experience.
For a space game, a completely odd experience.
It was really odd. I ended up, at first I really liked the whole collecting junk and throwing it into the bins and stuff like that, but the inability to upgrade your flatbed so that it could hold the stuff in better started to really frustrate me. The gameplay of getting across the terrain started being annoying, and so since I completed the expedition, I don't think I've done it at all.
Yeah,
but I did really like the fact that it was completely different than the rest of the game.
It was. What I really liked about the update is the customization of your Colossus.
Oh yeah,
the
absolutely.
Different wheels, the different cabinets.
Yeah,
or cabins.
Yeah, the crab legs are awesome.
Oh yeah, I like the caterpillar tracks. I think those look cool. Yeah.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
So you're just talking about the treads.
Yeah, the treads.
Yeah.
The really long, thin ones.
Well, I don't know whether I'm right or not, but those crab legs, I convinced myself that stuff stays in the flatbed more when I'm using the crab leg.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing. I'm actually working on a video right now where I'm comparing all of the different wheels.
Yeah.
Because they do not react physics-wise the same way. They are not just a look. They all have different suspension and different speeds and different grips in of themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool. Like the wheels that are sort of see-through. The ones that have cross-hatching on them and it looks like you can sort of see through them. They're actually very spongy. And if you do waste management on that, stuff doesn't bounce around as much.
Oh, I have to get those and try them out.
Yeah. I forgot what one it is. It's one of the waste items you have to throw in like 50 of.
The other weird part about that game, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically the only thing you get out of it is nanites, right?
Yes, it's all. Well, no. If you put the correct waste into the correct bin, like toxic into toxic, radiation into radiation, you will get some resources back. Like if you throw radiation in, you will get some uranium back.
Oh, okay. I thought it was just nanites, and I thought, wow, this is weird. This is the first pure nanite game.
Yeah, so if you do the mass drop-off, it's just nanites. If you use the furnace, it's just nanites. If you use the correct disposal dispensers, you will get, like, when you throw away scrap, you'll get, like, rusted metal back.
Yeah, I guess I just
into the furnace.
Cool.
So, yeah. The video where I go over talking about waste management has just taken off for me. I think it's like at 500 views now.
Nice.
So I wasn't like the first to hit it by no means. Jason Plays, if you've ever watched any of his videos, he was the first to do it. Yeah, he's like the biggest No Man's Sky content creator with over like 200,000 subscribers. And wow. So yeah, he's doing really well. He's the one I look at and like I want to get there someday. And I know it's just time because like anything that's worthwhile, it takes time to get there, and that's fun. So I'm glad that you somewhat enjoyed it. Now, what's something in No Man's Sky that you'd like to see them add, that you're like, as a game developer, that you're like, I really love to see this?
Oddly enough, I really like the settlement stuff, which has been around for a while, but they keep upgrading little bits here and there.
Oh yeah.
I really want it to be visual upgrades, and I want there to be some sort of reward to maxing your settlement out.
Yeah.
But I like it. I've enjoyed it. I keep doing it. For some reason, it's rewarding to me. There's enough, like, oh, I got an hour and a half. I got 20 minutes before I can do the next thing. What can I do? Oh, I need some thermic condensates, or I need whatever. So I go off and I get that stuff and I accumulate it, and I come back. And I just keep bouncing back and forth. I thought I was going to do that with the freighter stuff, but I never really did. Freighters are, for some reason, they're annoying to me. I think it's the fact that I have to keep pulling it along, and I don't really want to, and it's so hard to upgrade. But yeah, I have always liked the settlement stuff. I just wish it had some more teeth in it. There was some more reward to doing all that work.
Yeah, it would be nice. I mean, it does give you, over time, some rewards for doing it, but not as much as I think it should do. And
the settlement makes that's kind of a laugh.
Yeah. Well, what I was thinking is funny is when I started playing Stars Reach and they put in the GovBot system, I was immediately thinking, what if Sean Murray did a whole entire thing with the settlements, where if you get like 50% or more settlements on a planet, you then become the governor of that planet and you own that planet in No Man's Sky.
Yeah, it would also be really cool if there was some reason to do more than one settlement.
Yeah. I mean, they do give us 4 settlements now, so...
it would be cool to have reasons for doing stuff like that.
It would.
That is something that a lot of games struggle with, including one that I was recently working on, which is giving the players reasons to do stuff, especially in sandbox settings.
Yeah, sandbox settings, that's really hard. But I think with Stars Reach, what I'm really waiting for, and which will really complete the loop, is the item durability.
Yep.
I think with everything being made by players, and item durability, those two things there will keep players around, especially crafters.
I would love to talk about Stars Reach, but I probably really shouldn't. Right?
No, you probably shouldn't. Now, I do have one question pertaining to Stars Reach that you can answer 100%.
Okay.
Do you actually play it now? Did they leave you access to be able to join in on the tests?
I'm not a dev anymore, but yeah, I can join. I played once and stopped. I played because the stuff that I was playing on the production servers, to me, was like a month and a half old. So it was frustrating to me that it wasn't current. So I'll wait till their next update, and then I'll probably play a little bit more.
A little bit more. So basically, you're going to continue jumping in and checking out what they've done and the progression they've made.
I won't use the Kicks name. I'll just play as
a regular person, so anyone could end up interacting with you and just wouldn't know it.
Yeah,
unless you actually say something.
Probably true.
And I mean, Robin Williams was known for being a big video game player.
Yeah.
And no one knew he played video games until he came out on late night TV shows and said he made it. He did make one statement that he told only one person that he gamed with that he was Robin Williams, and that person did not believe him. So he's like, okay, fine, give me your phone number. I'll call you. Calls him. And he freaks out and then immediately calms down, and they continued being friends and gaming together. And I think the reason Robin Williams continued gaming with him is because the guy didn't go star crazy over Robin Williams and continued treating him just as the the gaming buddy they'd always been. Which, you know, anyone who's famous, you need to treat that way, no matter how famous they are. You can't go all starstruck, because in my opinion, that just makes the star feel uncomfortable, and that you're just around them for that star power. Whereas if you just treat them normal, I think they'd be a lot more comfortable and relaxed around you.
Yeah, I'm not in that category at all. But I typically don't tell people. I don't tell people that who I am when I'm playing the game.
Yeah,
it's weird. It's weird.
So now let's talk about some game development stuff.
Sure.
What is the one project you worked on that you loved the most? That was sort of the closest to your passion project?
The game I had the most fun developing and the most fun playing consistently, because it was different every single time, was PlanetSide.
PlanetSide?
Yeah. I mean, I really liked Stripes 2 a lot, but PlanetSide was unique.
Yeah, it was very unique. There's only one other MMO FPS out there that I've ever heard of, and that's World War II Online.
Right. Which came out slightly before PlanetSide.
It came out slightly before. I don't think it got as big and as popular as PlanetSide did.
It was huge for a while. So
it was for a while, but I think PlanetSide sort of overthrew it. And I know that there definitely wasn't a sequel to it. Like PlanetSide had its sequel. Now, when they went to do PlanetSide 2, did they reach out to you at all?
No. I reached out to them. So when I heard that they were doing PlanetSide 2, I sent John Smedley a note that said, "Hey, dude, if you're going to do this game, we should talk." And we did talk. But Smed already had a setup for what he wanted to do in PlanetSide 2. And so he brought me in, and eventually that's how I started running the EverQuest franchise.
Aha! That's why you weren't on the PlanetSide 2 team. Is Smedley just went, here, do EverQuest instead?
He already had a team set up on PlanetSide 2 before they announced it, of course.
Yeah.
And so there really wasn't a place for me in it, which was like, damn. But then he put me on EverQuest 2, and he said, "Hey, can you take this game free to play?" Because I had done a little bit of that before with another game for a guy online called Oh My God. We took EverQuest 2 free to play, and it ended up doubling the number of players and tripling the revenue.
Oh, wow.
And Smid goes, "Oh, okay, we want more of that. Why don't you take over the franchise?" And I said, "All right, I'll take over the franchise, but if you're doing a new game, I get that too." and so that's how I ended up running EverQuest, EverQuest 2, EverQuest Next, and Landmark.
Yeah. So with that being said, I want to sort of reach into sort of your casual gameplay and stuff like that. And a little bit of development. Last game development question I have for you is, with things being gameplay mechanics, story, and like graphics and audio, what order would you put those in importance?
That's a hard question. For people actually enjoying the game and playing it, I would say gameplay mechanics. For selling the darn thing, it's got to look great.
Yeah.
You can't get anybody to play a game if it doesn't look good.
Well, unless you're like an old-time gamer like me, where I'm used to 8-bit Atari graphics growing up.
Let me rephrase. If you want large numbers of players, which almost all of us do, because it's like like I'm really old school, right? There was a time back in the 80s I actually ran an arcade and all that other stuff. And I always think of graphics as the attract mode on an arcade machine.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where like you glance at it and you're like, wow, that looks amazing. And that makes you pause long enough to actually figure out whether or not you like the game.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of times a game can be really fun, but when you glance at it, you're like, it doesn't look that good. I'm not going to check it out. And that's a bummer because then you don't know that it's a really fun game.
Yeah.
And it's kind of it's just the way people are. If it doesn't look good, they're not going to find out about it.
Very, very true. Or they may give it a try if their friends like, okay, yeah, this game may graphically look not so appealing, but these gameplay mechanics, it explains the gameplay mechanics, and that drags the person in. Is another way a person can.
There are exceptions.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, there's some really big exceptions.
Yes. But for the most part, you are right. Graphics are what draws people in. Because when I was working on a game that I've been working on off and on called Keep Wars, which was sort of an homage to Rampart, but done 3D. I did a Kickstarter for it. And in big, bold red letters, I said, the graphics are not the final version. This is just after prototype. We are still trying to figure out how graphically we want to look at. Please pay attention to the gameplay mechanics. The only comments I ever got was, oh God, the graphics are terrible. This game's never going to sell.
Yeah. That was the same when Star Trek went public. It was exactly the same thing. Yeah, people freaked out about the graphics, and that was a negative. It kept people from playing the game for a long time until they got improved.
Well, it's like another thing I remember is someone reached out to me in a private message because they saw my how to write a bug like a professional game tester, and there was like, I'm interested in applying for this game testing job. And I watched your video. Do you got any other advice? And I said, do not be all about the graphics. If you're all about just the graphics looking good and that's your primary thing, you're going to hate being a game tester. It's like, why? I said, because you're going to see prototype stage stuff sometimes. You're going to see pre-alpha where the textures are barely in. And if you only play games predominantly because the game looks good, you're gonna hate the job for a majority of the time. And he's like, well, how long are you testing these games? And I said, well, let me put it this way. I spent a year and a half testing a game. And there were times where I was doing 20 hours a day, 7 days a week for a whole entire month. And
I get feedback from from people. They're like, what do you do for a living, Georgeson? And I'll tell them, producer, director, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's so awesome. You get to play games all day. And I'm like, well, that's true. That's absolutely true. But for, it's a 4-year project. And for about 3 years and 9 months, it's at least partly broken.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
The only place it works really well is in here.
Yep. That's true. And that's the funny thing. The other thing I told the guy was, don't expect to always be playing the game. That's half your job is, yes, to play the game, but you're there to find bugs. So they're going to tell you where to play, what to do, and things like that. So don't expect that you're in the game moving around the entire time. You could spend a whole entire day just sitting at the menu screen. And especially if you're doing console games, you have the certifications.
Yeah.
And that's where PC gaming is for testing is a lot easier than it is for consoles because you don't have the certifications to worry about.
Well, yes and no.
I mean, the difficulty with PC testing is the variety of different setups you need to have, the different graphics card, the different memories, different processors is insane. Whereas consoles, here's the console. It's going to be same across the board.
And that's what I meant by yes and no.
Yes, exactly.
You're exactly right.
I knew where you were going, so I wanted to catch you on that. I don't want to look like I'm just spouting things out. But I mean, what's the most proudest moment you've had in your game development career?
Proudest moment. I'm going to go right back to PlanetSide 1 again because when they gave me PlanetSide 1, it was a very, very broken game. It had been in development for a couple of years, and when I got on board, you couldn't even walk across the terrain.
Oh, wow.
It was not a functional game. And that we had a super green team where I think there was 2, maybe 3 of us on the entire team that had ever made a game before. And we were being asked to make something that was completely new that had never been done before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we were a ragtag kind of just super excited team out in Missouri, outside of St. Louis, Missouri. We were far away from headquarters because that was SOE and they were in San Diego.
Yeah.
So we were completely on our own. And it was just me and a bunch of greenhorns figuring out how to make a game that could play with, 100,000 people on a single battlefield sort of thing. And the fact that we pulled it off, I mean, our lead programmer at that time wasn't getting the job done. So we put Don Neufeld in charge of it. And Don, I think he was 23 when we put him in charge of the world's first MMO FPS. When we sent him to San Diego, he couldn't even rent a car.
Oh, wow.
So, and he was brilliant. He's still brilliant. If you ever get to talk to Don Neufeld, he's one of the most amazing programmers.
Yeah.
And Don rallied the code team around, and we got things moving. And then the design started shaping up really well because, we've talked about the whole Tribes 2 and PlanetSide thing before.
Yeah.
And it just started clicking. And then all of a sudden, we were able to ship it. And when we shipped it, nobody expected us. In San Diego, they thought they were going to cancel the game.
Mm-hmm.
I was basically hired to cancel the game.
Oh.
And then we fixed it.
That's a great achievement to have under your belt, to take a game that they think is going to be canceled, but they're still willing to take a bet on, and you completely turn around, so much so that they actually did a sequel to it.
Well, I have one thing that I claim as it's a claim to fame, but it doesn't make me famous. Mm-hmm. But until EverQuest Next, I never failed to ship a product, and I never had a product that didn't make money. So for about 35 years, I never failed.
Yeah.
It was only EverQuest Next. EverQuest Next was the only one that didn't ship, and that was honestly not my fault because the company got sold.
Exactly, and then they changed their minds on what they wanted to do, and so that's out of your control. I've been in situations like that. When I was my one example is I like I said, I was a game tester at Microsoft, and every project I was on, we passed certification the first time.
Nice.
And very, very proud of that, because that's saving development teams tens of thousands of dollars, because it costs $10,000 to go through certification every time. And if you fail, you have to pay the $10,000 again, and you have to go to the back of the line. And I was really excited about that. But my last project failed certification. And the saddest thing is at the end of the project, at the end of the project, when you have a test team comes in there and lets you know whether it's ready to go or not, and they give their thumbs up, or if anything's missing that needs to really be tested. And we had one of those meetings, our test team had one of those meetings, and I brought up, this is a game that requires disk swapping. we have not tested disk swapping yet. We have not done green disks yet. We need to do that because this is back 2013. And so we were digitally downloading the games because, capability was there. So that's how we were predominantly testing. And so I said, we need, me and my test partner said, we need to do the green disk swapping. Our test lead, I'm not going to mention names, but our test lead straight out came out and said, I worked for EA for 10 years. We never had a problem with disk swapping. I rebutted back and said, yes, that's EA. This is a small independent game development studio that has never done disk swapping before in their lives. We need to test this. And he goes, I'm the test lead. We're going to do what I say. I say we don't need to test this. I don't see a problem with this issue. At that point, I dropped it. Why argue with your boss?
Yeah.
Right?
Never works out, does it?
It doesn't. But I just brought it up. Now, when I get back to the office on Monday, because that meeting was on Friday, I get back on Monday, it failed certification. When I looked at why it failed certification, disk swapping did not work.
Sure.
And the test lead holds a meeting. He's all pissed off, and he's like, I want to know who didn't catch disk swapping. I couldn't help myself. I said, you. And he goes, me? How's this my fault? I said, we brought it up. You said not to worry about it.
Yeah.
That would pass. So the ball is in your hands. We did our jobs.
Sure.
But let's get back to talking about you and things like that. So with you having more free time now, besides gaming, what's another hobby that you've been sort of indulging in a lot more of?
Well, I've been running a D&D campaign for 20 years. So there's that. Tonight I'm starting an acting workshop just because. Long time ago, actually before the game industry, I used to do a lot of theater. So I thought it'd be fun. And other than that, it's mostly just puttering, fixing things, going around the house and improving things. Stuff, nothing major. I played with a few game ideas and tooled out some ideas for stuff. And I've been reaching out to a few industry contacts and talking about things like possibly consulting, to talk to people about, how to be a better producer or director, that sort of thing, or design or whatever. But they're all irons in the fire right now. I wouldn't call any of them really serious. Just kind of relaxing after the last, complete nose to the grindstone that I've been doing for the last couple of years. I just taking some time off, realizing there's an outside again.
Yeah, definitely. I know that one. I'm an avid cyclist. I love cycling. Something my dad sort of ingrained into me. And I'm really surprised. 2 years of patience to help me learn the balancing on a bicycle. And that's something I'm sort of really proud of. And also, it's something at a young age that taught me patience.
Well, that's awesome, dude.
So I do a lot of that for my hobby. But with you talking about the whole entire acting thing, why when we did the short thing, did I get this, oh no, sort of like downplayed thing instead of this actor coming at you going, oh, here's my chance? Because I remember talking to the others and getting comments from the others watching that short that were on the Stars Reach development team, just laughing because of that downplayed from you. Oh no.
I was going for a laugh.
You got it. See, there you go. That shows the chops of someone who can be good at acting. acting so well that they don't look like they're acting or don't know how to act. There you go, chops. I give that to you. I bow to you.
in my very first game that I directed, called Absolute Zero for Domark, there was it was a science fiction game set on Europa, and there in the game, I won't get too detailed about the game, but in the game there was the Earth News Network, which was polished and professional. And then there was the local news network that was European. And to make that sound right, I hired a professional actor for the ENN stuff, the Earth News Network. And then I did the local news because I had been a radio newscaster back in, I guess, in the 80s. I worked for a station called KGAL. And I had done that, but I knew that my delivery wasn't the same as a professional network stuff. So it worked out really well, and the difference in our voices was perfect. And it was the last time I ever did that in a game, because then I went on a press tour. And the first time I was demonstrating the game to other people and my voice came out of the game, it could not have sounded more rinky-dinky. You know what I mean? Like, I'm talking to somebody live in the room, and on the game, my voice is coming out of the game, and that was it. That was it never happened again. I was so proud of it until that moment.
Yeah. Well, I remember in 2004, City Heroes came out. And I got invited to be a DJ for this internet radio show for City Heroes called Justice Radio. And I did that for about 6 months until just didn't have the time for it, you know, things like that. And I remember I switched jobs and got this new job, better pay, everything like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm in the lunchroom, and I'm talking to a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden, one of them, their eyes just went bright and big. And they looked at me, and they're like, "You sound just like DJ Shock Rock," which was my online handle for being a DJ. I looked at him, and I winked, and I smiled, and he goes, "No!" Everyone's looking confused. Like, what are you talking about? He goes, "Well, I play this game called City of Heroes. And I listen to this this online radio station called Justice Radio. And there's this guy that plays heavy metal and just has this sort of shock rock DJ, vibe to him. And he sounds just like him." And they're like, "So are you?" I said, "Yeah." And he starts just geeking out and fanboying. I'm just like, really? I'm a no one. That show gets like 50 listeners.
Yeah, I really liked that game, City Heroes.
Oh, I still play it to this day on the private servers.
Yeah, I played it on the Homecoming servers for quite a while.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, and I just really enjoyed it. I used to play it back when it was new, and then I got to the point where it was too much lather, rinse, repeat, and I quit for a long time. And then I had some, during COVID, I had some friends from Oregon that were playing it, and it was a way to be around people. So I started playing City of Heroes with them, and that lasted for another couple of years before we quit. But yeah, it was really fun. I like that game a lot.
If you like that game, I think you should jump back in, because Homecoming added Khaleesi's Wharf, a zone that was being worked on at the time. They actually added in roaming mobs that you can hunt down, regular pedestrians and stuff like that. It's a fully living city and thing, or zone with quests and stuff like that, and a new faction.
No, that game still has some of the best movement stuff ever.
Oh yeah, character customization for an MMO beyond any other.
Yeah, and that's crazy that it's still better than everybody's.
Yeah. I mean, the funny thing is I look at these other superhero MMOs like DCUO and Champions Online. Champions Online matches in some areas beats City of Heroes, but made by the same development company. Of course. DC Universe Online wasn't as forgiving in character customization.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, you could sit in an area with hundreds of other players, and every single one of those stood out and didn't look like one another at all. Whereas if you jumped into like EverQuest, World of Warcraft, everyone almost looks the same.
It's weird, but a lot of times people are like, well, you can adjust the cheekbone angle, and look, you can change your eyebrow angle, and most of that just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter in the game because you can't see it when you're more than 2 feet away from the character.
True.
So the only person that really gets a big charge out of that is the one that's making it, and that's fine.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that because people like to customize their character. But I thought that COH did a fantastic job of making your appearance changes matter at a distance. It was really easy to customize. I mean, you can come up with a character concept of just about anything and make it work in the COH stuff. And that's impressive. That's very impressive.
It is.
That's a huge set of stuff.
I'm constantly jumping in there and making new characters just for fun. But then I also do videos. And sometimes I come up with a killer idea that I have to do a video on it. Like I did a video on a spine fire brute that just decimates things because there's 4 AoEs on it. And just
I mean, my friend group up in Oregon, we used to do things like, okay, this week we're gonna make a guild and it's gonna be nothing but cow puns. Everybody has to make characters that are based on a cow pun, or we're gonna make nothing but short characters. Everybody has to be super short, and it was just, and we would just do those things and we would come up with the craziest stuff, and it was really fun because not only did we enjoy it, but other players seeing it would be like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah. Especially if you do weird things like get all on a line wearing pink tutus dancing along the road.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, so now with you being into City of Heroes, the question I have, what was your favorite archetype and your favorite power sets?
What did I play the most? Well, the first run through it, the character that I played the most was a healer. And it was very, very fun. I thought it was one of the best healing games at that time. The second time around, I ended up playing. I have bad characteritis in that game. I have a hard time sticking with one.
I don't know a single player that doesn't have altitis.
Yeah.
In that game, everyone has like 50 or 100 characters in that game because the game makes it so easy to make different characters. Even to the point you can have one electric blaster. You'll have like 4 different electric blasters. Their costumes are all different. Their origins different. And even their enhancements that you slot are different.
Yeah, I finally graduated to the point where I started really liking masterminds because they were challenging.
Yes. I don't find masterminds.
A blaster or a tank or something like that, it was pretty simple to master and stuff like that. But being a really good mastermind was a challenge, and that was fun. And especially if it was crowd control oriented.
Oh, yeah.
So the time stuff. Like it's been a year or two since I've played, so I'm kind of having to dust some cobwebs out of my brain here. But the time stuff I had a really good time with. So the chrono stuff. It was fun.
Chrono stuff. Yeah, my first character was an electric blaster. I was constantly getting yelled at because I was maxing out everything on the melee side, and there's like, "You're a blaster. Your melee is useless." I said, "No. Once I got past 32, my melee was half of my moves." And they're like, "You shouldn't be up close." I said, "Why? You're gonna get hit." I said, "No, I'm not." And they're like, "What do you mean?" I said, "Watch this." I jump into a group of like 10 guys. I hit 2 powers, and the 10 guys are just standing there looking at me, and they're like, "Why aren't they attacking?" I said, "Look at their endurance." "How's their endurance at 0? I said, 2 powers. Short circuit and power sink. They both drain half the endurance. Short circuit makes it so that they do not regain endurance back, and every hit I'm doing is stopping endurance. By the time they're able to attack back, those 2 powers had popped again."
Yeah. It's stuff like that I think is really fun. Like when they originally put out the game, the recharge timers were broken. And you could overstack the recharge timers, and it was ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
And they've made adjustments, of course, over the years. And I don't know. I think part of the fun of that game is finding the different ways that you can play, that you can keep making different character builds that feel different when you play the game.
Yes.
You have to adapt your tactics and stuff. And that's not true of a lot of games.
Very true. Now, I know you play on Homecoming. Do you play on any of the other private servers?
No. Yeah, I played on Homecoming servers because that's where my friends were.
That's where it was just because your friends. Because I play on all the different servers because they all do things a little bit different.
Yeah.
Some of them have added a bunch more costume options. There's one out there that's added over 1,000 new costume options.
Wow.
Both in 3D models, textures. They even did an animated sand skin.
Wow.
They did. They made it to where you can have the skin tights, and you know how in Say Heroes when you do skin tights, it's just skin. You can't have like the rock skin or the plant skin underneath it. They made it so that you could have those skins underneath.
How much do you play the public events?
Not as much as I'd like to. I mainly get on there to do like guides and tutorials of, hey, this is how you make this build, or this is how you do this, because half of my viewers that watch these videos, they're like, "Oh, I never got the chance to play City Heroes when it went live. My parents wouldn't let me play it, or I was busy with work, and now I'm playing on these private servers, and so my guides are sort of helping out." So all of the private servers are like thanking me for doing these videos, and it's like I'm keeping up with it, and just like I've done all the guides on like, okay, these are all the different classes, these are all the different factions, this is how you find all the exploration ones. I'm just doing theory crafting of different builds. So one time it's like, oh, if you do a build this way, this is how it will be. Sometimes I get a bug in me where it's like, what would happen if the Flash and Wolverine were one character? And I'll build it in City Heroes and just have fun with that.
I was asking you about the public events because one of the things it's like public events aren't COH only. Obviously, they're in lots of games, and they suffer the same design problem pretty much everywhere I've played them. They're pretty much the same, exactly the same every single time. And I mean, honestly, COH suffers from that, right? Like
it does, like the Halloween events, the Christmas events. The first time you play it, it's good. It's interesting. It's a bit different. Like the Halloween event for Say Heroes, the first year they announced it, you'd walk up to a door, you'd knock on it, you'd either get like an inspiration or enhancement, or you'd have a bunch of enemies pop out the door and attack you as a trick. I was like, oh, this is cool. And then they just rinse and repeat them every year.
Well, yeah. It's an interesting thing. I keep wanting to take a shot at like some public events and be able to add some randomized elements to it. I mean, there's a trade-off. People like to be able to figure out a game.
Mm-hmm.
and be able to get good at specifically that thing, but it takes some of the challenge out. And when you're a new player and you go into a public event and you don't do exactly what you're supposed to, that's a negative experience because people yell at you.
Yeah.
I feel like there's room for improvement on those things.
There is, and I agree with you that whole entire thing. That's where I'm picky on the people I hang out with in MMOs. I want people who are playing the game. They know it's a game. It's for fun. Unless the only game where I didn't do that was PlanetSide. I hung out with a group of military guys who literally they were either veterans or active in the military. And I hung out with them because when I got out of high school, I wanted to go and be in the Marines. But because of my cerebral palsy, I'm automatically disqualified.
Right.
But that's the direction I wanted to go because military family. My dad was in the Navy. My mom's side of the family was all military. My brother went to the National Guards. I wanted to serve. And I couldn't. So I was really upset about that. And that's where getting into PlanetSide, I was able to do a bit of that with this group because they taught me military tactics. They taught me how to keep with the group and why you keep with this number group. And when we ran, we'd have our medic, a backup medic. We'd have an engineer, a backup engineer. We'd have our heavy weapons guy. We would have our light armored guy. We'd have our sniper and all this kind of stuff. And we would all work as a fluid team. And we worked so well that our squad would run up against platoons and win.
Yeah, that was the thing that I really loved about PlanetSide. Well, there was two things. One of them was that it was never the same from battle to battle. It was always different because it was different people, different numbers, different. You'd approach from different angles. It was just always, always, always different. And the second thing, and one of the reasons why I think the game worked very well was the command rank structure.
Oh yeah.
So that you actually had to get people to follow you voluntarily in order to earn command rank. Mm-hmm. So if you got to be CR5, you were somebody that people had followed a lot. And they were willing to follow you because you were a competent leader.
Yep.
And those things, and I'd like to say it was by design, and it kind of was, but it wasn't by design that attracted military mindset people. Mm-hmm. That I think people started that military folks started liking the game because of that command rank structure and the fact that if you were a leader within the game, you didn't just rank up somehow, or you bought your way up a ladder or something like that. If you had CR5, that was because you were inherently a good leader, and that made everything else worked because of that. Like you saw CR2 or CR3 person, you knew you could follow them because otherwise they wouldn't have got the rank.
Yep.
I loved that game. We had, as a developer, I had a God mode that allowed me to just basically fly around as an invisible eye in the sky. Mm-hmm. So you would not believe how many hours I just watched people play the game.
Oh, wow.
Figuring out what worked and what didn't. I would just fly around and watch people coordinate and stuff. And I would also watch, there was the people that were super coordinated, and then there were people that made me just go, why? What are you doing? Because they would charge a tower, die, respawn at the AMS, charge the tower, die, respawn at the AMS, charge the tower, die, over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, what are you doing? But people just play different ways. Yep. And it was a really good learning experience for me as a designer and director to be able to understand how people were attacking the game and be able to adjust the game based on that. It was fun.
Now, my question I have about that, with you watching that and like screaming at them, did anyone in the office ever come up to you and go, do you know you're screaming at the monitor?
No.
Did you ever catch yourself actually verbally screaming at the monitor like it's a sports game and you're like voting for a team type thing?
Well, no, I mean, like the tower guy, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't just one guy. There was a bunch of people that played that way. And it made me, like, as a designer, go, well, that's not a good game. That person is going to quit. They're not going to stick with the game. What can I do about it? You know, and so there were challenges that we discussed internally and figured out how to make things more interesting. It was a blast. That game was so much fun to work on. Honestly,
it's fun to play.
If Q2 and Swig hadn't stolen our development team, I'd still be working on that game.
So
I would have never stopped working on that game. I loved that game.
So I want to backtrack a moment talking about public events and stuff like that. We were talking about that, and then I got another question. So when you were talking about that's one thing I'm noticing in Stars Reach. So, you know, the public events, they've always been, you know, this sort of area, you do this and that's done. And, you know, I think the one game that really moved it forward in public events was Warhammer Online, where they'd have the public events and you could do the soft grouping, and it was the first one to sort of introduce soft grouping, but it was the same thing over and over and over again, and it got sort of boring. And that's the one thing that really interests me about Stars Reach is the way public events are being done. There's two things I like about it. One, the random rotation of what events gonna happen, and two, the random location of where it's going to happen.
Well, I agree that those are good things, but I will go ahead and say that that's not nearly good enough the way it is right now.
No, it's not. But I mean, you look at the main focus is the simulation tech and making it feel like a living world.
Yeah.
You know, there's already that thing in there that's brand new and testing that can break so many things that, you know, they're used to working on and things like that. And then, you know, they're adding in like the new shaders now, which is causing a bunch of lag and things like that. It's like, okay, yeah, there's new shader tech that they gotta experiment with, plus their simulation engine and things like that. You know, I mean, heck, I'm pretty sure you guys, when you were working on and Raph, you guys probably freaked out the first time you had to implement a walk animation into the game because you didn't know how it was going to act because of the new simulation system. Am I correct?
Well, maybe not with walks. I mean, animation systems are different than rendering systems. But I'm not sure I understand what your question is.
So, okay, you've done so many games that you implementing something like a simple shooting a gun, you know, with the damage being done, the animations and stuff like that, and the ammo count and things like that. You could do that in your sleep, no problem. But when you add in some kind of new technology like the simulation that Stars Reach has, and then you put in that gun, you don't know what's going to happen to the simulation, and you don't know if that simulation might break something what you're used to doing.
Yes. I mean, we're not doing our job if we can't predict most of that.
Yes.
And that's especially part of the job I had, was making sure that when we implement systems that we're thinking about everything, not just how it interacts with other systems, but also like how the player's going to figure it out, what's supposed to be fun about it, you know, how are they rewarded, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the bigger Stars Reach gets, the harder it is to work on. That's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we. I'm not going to talk about the game.
I don't want to get you in any trouble. I definitely,
Yeah,
because I love.
It's not that I would get in trouble. It's just not cool for me to talk about it right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that game, and yeah, I'd jump back onto it if I had the chance. But I don't want to say anything negative about it. I want the game to succeed.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah.
It's the one game where, you know, I'm mad at Raph, but I'm happy at the same time, because when I started getting into professional game design, I wanted to make something like Stars Reach. That was my end goal. Get my knowledge up to where I can get a team together to build something that was like Stars Reach, because I liked Star Wars Galaxies so much. And I didn't like it because it was Star Wars. I liked it for the gameplay mechanics. Having it being Star Wars themed was just a bonus to me. Originally, I joined because it was Star Wars, and then I saw the gameplay mechanics, and I was like, there's something here just in the mechanics that's so enjoyable, and that was my dream. And then I saw Stars Reach, and I went, damn it, Raph, because I wanted to make something like that. But then I thought to myself, who better to make something like that than Raph, the guy who made the first version that made me want to make something like that. And that was really nice. But I want to move on to the next question, which is, with you being sort of between, have you thought about, and you saying you want something like PlanetSide, have you thought of just making your own universe and first-person shooter MMO?
That's a tough road to hoe.
That is, but there's no one better to do it.
It's true that I would do a good job. I guarantee that I would do a good job. But it is a giant amount of work to even think about doing it. It's like, it's not just designing it, it's getting the funding, setting up the team, getting everybody in line, making sure the tech is right, doing all the marketing. It's like, when you look at it from the very beginning, there's a moment where you're like, do I really want to do this?
Exactly. And that's what you have to ask yourself. And that's why I'm asking the question, would you really want to do that?
Let's put it this way. If I was going to do a game from scratch, I would absolutely pick something along those lines. Absolutely. Because I understand how it ticks. I understand how it can work. I believe I can adapt it to modern sensibilities and make it great. And it would be a lot of fun to work on. I would have to believe that I can have solid funding and attract, well, I think I could attract the talent.
I know you could.
I'd have to really believe that I had a solid path for the funding before I'd started.
So
after that, it would be fun.
As you guys heard here, that wasn't a no. Keep an eye out in the news of Dave Georgeson. No.
I would absolutely love to design that and build it. I mean, it would be, God, it would be a blast to do another. Obviously, I'm not going to do PlanetSide again.
Oh, but, yeah, no, I would love to see you do sort of your own franchise. I mean, something that, now here's the question. Are you a Warhammer 40,000 fan at all?
I did used to play 40K quite a lot. I still have some Eldar stuff.
Okay. What would you think of a Warhammer 40K first-person shooter FPS, sort of like in the theme of PlanetSide, but instead of 3 factions, each race is their faction, and then there's internal factions, sort of like you have the Ultramarines and the Blood Angels and stuff like that will fight with each other.
A strong IP is a very good thing for a game.
Oh, yes.
And the 40K universe is it's dark and twisted, but it's pretty fun. And I enjoyed it when I was playing the tabletop game a lot. There's a drawback to a strong IP, which is that you're creatively shackled.
You are.
You have to live within that IP because otherwise the players are going to be very upset about it. When we did PlanetSide, we didn't have that at all.
Yeah.
So we could make whatever weapons we wanted and do anything we wanted with the faction and the lore and all the other stuff. But the negative side of that is nobody knows what your universe is about.
Yeah, they have to learn your universe.
Players in the game, it's a challenge.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, Stars Reach faces that a little bit.
It does.
What's that?
I said, yes, it does. But
yeah,
that's the thing. If you're successful in a game, look at EverQuest. People love the lore in EverQuest. Same with PlanetSide. People love the lore and stuff in PlanetSide and the history that you built in there about how the Terran Republic is this big empire structure. Then you have the Banu Sovereignty, which is like the scientists that sort of want to move forward. And then you have the New Republic or the new conglomerates, which are sort of this, hey, we are anti-Terran Republic, but we sort of want to go the direction the Banu Sovereignty went, but not completely type of side. And that's the one thing I like is color themes. They're different. The models and the way they're designed in their armor and their vehicles and their weapons was really, really cool. And that was the one thing that upset me with PlanetSide 2 was you had these different vehicles that had different feels and looks to them. You had the Mosquito, you had the I think it was the Raven.
Yeah.
And they were each a different faction. And then in PlanetSide 2, there's like, oh no, every faction gets these two planes. It's just one's a light and one's a heavy. I was like, but that doesn't fit right. Yeah, that's not going the direction that I know I'm used to.
PlanetSide 2 is a good game. Let me start there.
Yes.
But it drove me a little bit crazy.
Yeah, there's things I like about it. It did a good job in the battles and things like that. In being an MMO FPS, it's good there. I'm not a big fan of the class system. I prefer the free open, what you equip is what you are system that you'd done. That led for more flexibility in my mind.
Yeah, I mean, in PlanetSide, the Terran Republic was all about bullets. The most bullets in the air that you possibly could get. And the new conglomerate was all about big guns that hit hard. And then the Banu Sovereignty was about high tech that's weird.
Yes.
I mean, that was really the underlying personalities for everything on those things. And there were reasons for that, not only because they were different game styles, but because they appealed to different groups of players. One of the reasons why the empires were almost always balanced was because the attract modes for the different empires were such that people just naturally gravitated to ones that they liked that style of playing. Well, that plus the bonuses at the very beginning.
Yes, definitely.
There were a lot of reasons why that game worked. And you had to really get what was going on under the hood to understand how to extend that game. Did you paid attention to the lore? Did you realize that Araxis was a living sentient planet?
I may have seen that somewhere, but it's been so long since I've read into the lore.
You remember when we blew up the world and it went into different sections and everything like that?
Oh, yeah.
The meteorites hitting it and everything like that.
I do remember that.
Talked to the players at that point. but a lot of people didn't get it because it was kind of obscured by other stuff. Yeah, there was a lot of fun stuff in it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and that's the fun thing is creating that lore like that makes things enjoyable. And I got two more PlanetSide questions for you. I think we'll go ahead and end the interview. Okay. First off, what was your favorite faction to play in PlanetSide?
TR all the way.
My man. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. I love the looks. I love the fast shooting. Yeah. That was just that was me. My next question.
It was a blast.
Yeah. My next question is
spraying gray heavy. That was
yeah. Just because that's me. I'm in the game. I'm not a great shot, especially when I have spasms. My shots go everywhere. So that's the reason I chose them, because what I would do is I'd be the cover fire person. I'd see something moving, I'd be, yeah, 90% of the bullets didn't hit their targets, but that person, when they peeked out, they went right back into hiding.
Yeah, suppression fire is
oh yeah. and so, I was playing with military guys. They knew my aim wasn't that great in game, and which is sort of odd because in real life I'm really good with aim. But they liked me because I could cover an area, and they knew that area was secured. Out of anyone, if they wanted to secure an area, they had me cover it. and there's times where they're like, okay, we need a person to cover this area, and like the best shot would be like, get controlled chaos to go do it. Why? Because nothing will be alive or want to move out of that area. Yeah, I may actually take it down, but when you say cover an area, he'll cover the area. My next question is, with the different factions, when the whole entire thing of the Elmos, Smurfs, and Barneys started coming out, what did you think of that?
I don't remember that.
Yeah, so the Terran Republics were called Elmos because they were red. The Vanu Samadis were called Barneys because they were purple. And
I do remember.
Blue for Smurfs.
Yeah, I forgot all about that. No, I hated it.
You hated it? Why?
I mean, I don't mind that the players made nicknames for stuff and everything like that, but I had names for stuff. I didn't need nicknames.
But
it doesn't matter. It's just my personal opinion. Yeah. But I was like, okay, players do what players do.
Mm-hmm.
Fine.
They're always going to do what you don't expect.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't going to put it in the game or anything.
No. Let that be a player-only thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some things where you just have to do that. You just have to let players... That's the thing. If you want to have a fan base on something, you gotta let the players have some the fans have some ownership of it.
Yeah. Yeah, and there was zero wrong with what they did there with the nickname and everything like that. It's just that I really liked people to identify with the different factions, and it wasn't a game that was about lore, but whenever there was somebody like you that actually paid attention to the lore and understood what was going on, I was very happy. It made me very happy because you didn't have to pay any attention to any of that. It didn't matter.
No, you don't.
It was flavor text that helped glue the game together.
Yeah.
So when people paid attention to that stuff, I felt like it made the game stronger because then people started extending the stuff that was in the lore into other stuff, like into outfit structures and the lore for their own outfits.
Mm-hmm.
And so I liked that a lot. And anything that detracted from that, I was like, okay, if they want to do that, that's fine.
See,
and the nicknames was one of those things like, I'm not using those.
Yeah, it's nice that they do that, but I'm not using those. Now, Before I let you go, there is one thing I'm going to mention. So I mentioned how Raph inspired one of my dream games. I do have another dream game as something that you inspired. I want to do something like PlanetSide, but instead of having pre-existing faction, have player-made factions that battle one another.
Tricky.
So it's sort of like Guild Wars, but sci-fi, and actually the main focus being PvP like PlanetSide is. And it's not this instant thing. I want the whole entire thing. I want the 3-hour travel time on foot to go across a continent, but yet you jump in a buggy, you can get there in like 15 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the trick with player-made factions is, how is it different than guilds?
Well, and that's the whole entire thing. It is going to be the guilds in the game. So it's going to be guild-based only PvP and controlling of areas.
Yeah, okay, that could work. The only drawback, one of the things that I enjoyed about doing PlanetSide the way we did it was by creating the 3 factions that you could join. I could customize the feel of each of those factions. So if you decided to jump from Terran Republic to New Conglomerate or to Vanu, you got a very different game. You had to learn different tactics. You had to adjust different things. The vehicles drove and flew differently. It was not the same game when you changed factions. So when there's player-made factions, you don't get that luxury. You don't get to customize the underlying stuff. Now, you might be able to build a game where people can toolkit that stuff up within their outfit or their guild, whatever you want to call the faction. The trick is that players have a tendency to optimize to what the mass mind thinks is the right way.
Yeah, that's where the balancing trick comes into play.
Right. And that does change over time. People will have different ideas of what is the best, and so on and so forth. And so there's a flexible thing there, but it tends to be true that the mass mind starts to believe that this one thing is the way to do it. And if you don't do it that way, you're being stupid. And so the hard part would be that keeping the factions, or these player-made factions, so that they were actually different from me.
Yes, and that is the trick, and one of the hard things of the game. And I agree with you on that. But Dave, I want to thank you for your time in doing this interview, and I hope to do more fun, interesting stuff with you in the future. Everyone, have a great day. Bye.
Thanks.